This one was an early PS3 exclusive, and if you know me, then I had to pick it up. Chances are, most of you have never heard of it. Even the people I spoke to at GameStop were surprised, and let me tell you, there's a reason. So the inaccurately named Lair is a fantasy game about riding dragons, and that's the gist of it. It was developed by a private company called Factor 5, who went out of business, and this was the last game they ever released. From what I gather from the plot, the world takes place on an island where volcanic eruptions destroyed most of the land, and as a result, the people broke off into two kingdoms, Asilia and Mokai. They are at war because the Asilians have all the good stuff, and are too selfish to share with the Mokai. So you are an uninteresting guy named Roan, voiced by Robin Atkin-Downes, and he fights for Asilia on the back of a dragon. At first he hates the Mokai, but later develops sympathy towards them, and I'm just gonna spoil the story because it's really not worth keeping secret. Roan is given an order to destroy a large building, which turns out to be a temple, and ends up killing a ton of innocent people. He has a little cry and is deemed a traitor for having a heart, so he switches sides to destroy the kingdom he once protected. We've seen this story a ton of times, and they really don't add anything new to it here. The gameplay, on the other hand, is where the bad reputation comes from. You control the dragon entirely through 6-axis controls by tilting the controller, and that works about as well as you would think. There are also times when you have to destroy a generator or something by shaking the controller so hard it feels like I'm trying to jackhammer my brain out. Now, I do think that 6-axis can work well if it's implemented properly, but a lot of game developers just tried to force this gameplay on the player. It really doesn't work well, especially when steering the dragon around to target enemies, and it especially becomes more irritating when characters constantly nag you to do your job. However, you can land on the ground to fight soldiers. This doesn't use 6-axis, but it still isn't that much fun. Ground combat consists of claw attacks, fire, and munching on a guy to gain health back. You have 3 lives per story mission, and each time you fail, the transition screens take forever, and you have to watch the entire pre-mission cutscene all over again that you can't skip. The soundtrack got a lot of acclaim, and I'll be honest and say that it's alright but forgettable. It does capture the tone okay, and gives more personality to the scenes to make up for what the characters don't have. Now, I am aware that there is a downloadable update that allows you to control the game traditionally, but even then it's not that much fun because of how repetitive it is. If you're not defending your city, you're on an escort mission, or an awkward boss fight. But some of the locations were kinda nice to look at, but they're so small that they don't have enough depth. So to summarize, it's not worth it. You won't miss much in life if you never played it.
Easy, girl.
Let's burn these Mokai bastards!
The Mokai are attacking us from the sea. Bring your blades back, tall.